We are at the login screen, and we will now put in your email address or username that was assigned to you in the email that you received here, and enter username. And for the sakes of our training today, I'll actually be using a demonstration environment, but you will actually be using your actual username and your password, okay? Okay, and once you've entered your username and password, you can log in, and some of you, if you're brand new to the system, you will be prompted to change this username and password, and you'll want to select something that is easy to remember and that you can note down and reuse again, okay? So just something that you can do quite quickly. As you can see, as I type in the password, these green check marks off to the side go from red to green. This is letting you know that you're meeting all of the requirements for the system to reset the password for you. And so once you've done that, you'll actually see the main page open here in the MRO Results Online system. Okay, and just a quick note that I did miss when we first logged in here today, you do want to make sure that you're using either the Google Chrome or the Mozilla Firefox browser, as they do work best with the MRO Results Online system. Okay. So in this main page, the first thing that we're going to go to is Occupational Health Screening. You'll see this folder in the upper left-hand corner. Okay? If you'll click on that plus sign next to the folder, the additional folders will open. Your folders may look slightly different from mine, but you should see folders open at this point. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we are going to show you how to schedule a test in the MRO Results Online system. So the first thing that you'll do is you will go to Schedule New Order here right under Occupational Health Screening. If you'll click there, you'll see the order information box fill in. The first thing we have here is company location. If you select the drop-down menu here, your company will appear, and for the sake of today's training, we will be using Sample Company. Okay, after you've selected your company, you'll go to Packages, and the available packages for your company will open here. Okay, and then the next thing that will populate is the reason for test. Are you scheduling a pre-employment test? Is this maybe a post-accident or something like that? You'll do that here. So if you'll open, click on the drop-down menu here, select the appropriate reason for test. If you are one of our DOT customers, you will have fewer choices here, but you will definitely use one of those choices that are allowed by the DOT. We're just going to go with pre-employment, and then if you'll come over to the lower right-hand corner, you'll select Next to go to the Participant Information field. This is where you will fill in all of your donors' information, whether they're applying for a position or if they already work for your company. The person that is going to take the test, you need their information here. You will notice that there are several fields that are in bold lettering. These fields are the required fields for placing the order, so we need that information in there first. Again, for the purposes of the demonstration today, we're just going to schedule for test and test, first and last name. Then you need to enter the Social Security or Employee ID number here. If you do not happen to have that employee Social Security number, you can enter a number here like a driver's license, or if you assign an employee ID number, it just needs to be a minimum of 6 digits long. Okay? Next, even though it's not in bold, I would like to point out to you this email feature here. You'll use this field if the donor or your applicant maybe is testing and they're not necessarily right in front of you and you want to email this paperwork to them for them to go in for a collection. You can enter an email address right here. So whoops, I'm going to take that caps lock off. I'm going to enter my email address here. Okay? And then the next required field is a telephone number. You can enter that here. Okay. Finally, you'll see here the order expiration box is in bold. Once you start testing, let's say you want to give an employee maybe just 1 or 2 days to go in for that test. I know many of you require the test to be done by the next business day or the end of the business day. You can actually adjust that date here. The default for national drug screening is for the pass to be good for 7 business days. So you would just click into this field and you can adjust the date. As you can see, this pass is set to expire on August 10th. We're going to change that to August 4th, 04. And so that pass will expire this Friday. If you want it to expire by a certain time of day, you'll see here that this is in military time. I'd also like to let you know that this is Pacific Standard Time, so along the West Coast. So if you're scheduling on the East Coast, you'll want to be sure to measure that time difference there, because our passes expire typically, not typically, on West Coast time. Okay? So we've changed that to expire on the 4th at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Then as we scroll down to the bottom of this, you'll see participant address. You actually don't have to put the donor's address here. I'll show you on the next screen how to put in that information. In the meantime, you'll see custom message for participant. If you have special instructions for your donor, you can click into this field and type in any additional information that you'd like here. Okay? Then you'll see order handling options. The default is the first option because basically it's just saying that you're going to print this form. However, you'll notice we entered our email address here for our donor. So if we want the system to email this order for us, we need to be sure to select the second option, complete order, and send an email of the order details to participant. Email address is required. Now that I've selected that, when I go back to the top of this section, you'll see that the email address is now in bold and required. Okay? Next. Then we come to choose collection site. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, you do not have to have the donor's complete address. Now, the default for selecting collection sites will be your company address, listed here as the starting location. But let's say you had an applicant that was going to be testing in Oklahoma City before they came to your state to work. So 3159, we would put that zip code in. The system would reconfigure after you select Add Location to the left of the bright red arrow. And as you can see, the system is now searching for the closest collection facilities within the 73159 in Oklahoma City. That way your donor can go to a close location to them. So we'll select this facility. Again, you'll notice here that it has the closest mileage. I also want to point out to you the type of facilities that are available. You'll see this type column here. PSC stands for Patient Service Center. And that is going to get you your company's best pricing on a test. So you do want to make a note here that the collection site you're using is a PSC. If you are a Quest client, you would also possibly have the option of a PPN, which can still be scheduled electronically, but there is an additional fee. Okay, so you do want to pay attention to that feature there. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment when we go to look at how to choose a collection site. So once you've selected your collection site for this donor, you can go to Next. We come to the scheduled test date portion of the website, and this is not setting an appointment for your donor. What this section does is it chooses a date to activate this donor pass. And for the majority of the time, you'll want to select the same day. So you'll choose today's date. The options are available if we didn't want this donor to go in, to be able to go in for testing, let's say, until tomorrow, August 2nd, you can choose that day. But almost always you want the pass active as soon as possible so your donor can go and get that test done. Again, you're not scheduling an appointment for them. You're just making this pass available and active to use the same day. So once you've selected today's date, you'll click Next. And we come to the Confirm Information and Order section. This is your opportunity to make any changes to the donor pass if you see something that's incorrect. So you want to check the reason for the test that was ordered. Your company information should be here and correct. The collection site you selected would be listed here. The main things you want to check is for the spelling of the donor's first and last name, a social security number, the email address, because if you'll remember, we selected to have the system send this as an email to our donor, and the telephone number. So if you select to have an email sent, you do want to see this red box just below here. So let's say we've looked at this and we realize, oh, Mr. Test, the social security number I entered is incorrect. You can select previous, and you can actually go all the way back to the beginning of this order. So we entered a wrong number. It should be 14 instead of 41. We can now move forward through that order again. As you can see, the zip code is still here. I'm going to select Add Location to get that list to pull up for me again. Select my collection site. Make sure that that is active for us today. And now I have the correct Social Security number for Mr. Test. So the final step is right here. Submit order. Once everything looks good and it's correct, you'll submit the order. And the system will produce for you a PDF document directly out of this system. So this is called the order confirmation. You may hear us here at National Drug Screening call it the donor pass. So once you've received this pop-up box, if you opted to have your donor emailed a copy of this form, the system has already sent that email to the email address that you provided earlier in the process. You can print a copy for your records. You can certainly do that, but this system will also store a copy for you. We'll take a look at that shortly, but let's take a quick look at the donor pass. So as you can see, there's a reminder to make sure that your donor takes this page with you to the collection site along with a government-issued photo ID. Okay? It also lets them know if they're not able to print that pass that they can record the following order or registration number, which is located here under the barcode on the right. It's also located under your company account number here on the left. It lets your donor know when this pass will expire, August 4th at 11:59. That is Pacific Standard Time. Okay? What type of test is being done? It's a urine non-DOT. For our DOT customers, yours will say urine DOT. It will have your company's account number. This is not the donor's account number. The account number is your company account number. The order number, as I said, is the order number assigned to this collection, and it's also found here under the barcode. The lab name, the test panel, this is the type of test that is going to be taken, and the reason. Again, for the DOT customers, yours will look a little different. Not only will it have the panel code, but it will also show you the modality of the DOT that the test is being taken for, such as FMCSA or U.S. Coast Guard will be listed here, and the reason for test. Next, we come to collection site. This is the information provided to you on the collection site that we selected in the system. It will provide your donor with the name of the facility, the address, a telephone number, and fax. It will also provide them with the hours of operation here, but as you can see, it does say to call the collection site just to confirm operational hours. There are times where companies change their hours. It's even possible they've moved locations. So we do encourage donors to call just to make sure that the hours are correct. And we do advise our donors to arrive no later than 1 hour before closing time. If you are a DOT customer, it's not a bad idea to make sure that your donors are there no later than 3 hours before closing time in the event that they may need to do some additional procedures for those tests, okay? Next, we come to the donor or participant information. It will have your donor's first and last name and a shortened version of their Social Security number, the last 4 digits. Next, we see client or employer information. It will have your company's information here, the name of the DER for the company, address, and telephone and account information. The final box on the order confirmation sheet will contain all of the MRO's information. You'll see Dr. Nan's information here at I3 screen and their address and telephone numbers. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section here. I do want to let you know that without an order number, let's say, as I mentioned to you earlier when we were looking at that donor pass, that if they can't print that form, they need to make a note of the order number. Without that number, they will not be able to receive service at the collection site. So please make it clear to your donors that if they cannot print the form you provide, they need to have that order number, okay? So that brings us to our next section that we're going to review, all recent cases. As I said, the system will store a copy of that donor pass for you, and this is where it will be kept. You can also use all recent cases to look up any pending orders, completed orders. It's pretty much everything all in one place. And this is one that we use quite a bit, and we'd like to show you a little bit about its functionality. So by default, all recent cases will give you a look back over the last 30 days of all tests that have been done for your company. Okay, and so we want to show you a few of the customizable grids and columns that you can use. As you can see here, we have MRO status, reason for the test, case numbers, the customer, which would be your information here, the donor's last name and first name. So as I said, you can customize a lot of these grids. So let's say instead of last name, first name, you wanted to have the first name in front of that. You will just select, you will just put your cursor there on first name, and you will move that. As you see the double arrows moved here, and you can deposit that. And now the first name is before the last name. And you want it to have, instead of the Social Security number showing right next to that, if you would prefer to have the reason for the test right by the donor's name, as you can see, again, those blue double arrows indicate that that column is being moved for you. You can do that. And let's say you necessarily didn't want to see the Social Security number right in the main search feature. If you'll see that I've placed my cursor here and I get a small blue arrow. Click there, scroll down to columns, and then you have some additional radial buttons that you can use. So we're going to take out the Social Security number here, right there. Social Security employee ID number, we're going to deselect that, and now it's gone from the main screen. You've made some changes to this, and this is how you'd like to see it. If you come right down here to the little magic wand known as Customize, select there. You can then tell the system that this is how you would like your screen to look. Once you've moved columns as you'd like it, or add or deselected certain ones that you don't want to see, save, and it will save your preferences. So now each time that you log in, you can see the columns as you'd like to see them, or the columns that are available as you'd like to see them. Okay? Then we're going to take a look at some of the tools that are available to you here at the top of the screen. So you mentioned to you while we were placing the order, if you saw something that maybe wasn't right and you needed to edit it, you could do that by going back. Well, let's say you had a donor here. We have Mr. Brian Test, and we needed to make a correction to how his last name is spelled. You can select Edit here, and you'll see that this information comes up for us. And Brian's last name is Testing, not Test. So we've changed the spelling here. You can also, if you needed to correct a Social Security number or a phone number, possibly an address, you can do that as well. Or let's say, Brian wasn't in for a pre-employment test. Let's say he was actually sent over for post-accident, but you just made a mistake when you were scheduling it. You can actually change that as well. So reason for test or reason for change, you'll see that in bold. Once you've made a change to a participant here in all recent cases, you have to note a reason. Okay, so we're going to go with the second one, post-accident, wrong reason for test. Click Submit, and you'll see that here it went from pre-employment to post-accident. Okay, another great feature here is you can use notes. You'll just select the test participant somewhere in there. If you need to add a note, maybe, well, that one's not working for us, but you can select a note here, and then if you wanted to just make a note on that particular donor, you know, Mr. Duck went in, need to be sure to follow up with him. You can place a note on that particular participant, okay? The system does store this donor pass for you. Just highlight the donor in all recent cases and select donor pass. And another copy will open for you, and you can review all of the information that you sent to your donor. Let's say you opted to email that donor pass. Your donor gives you a call and says, oh, I never did receive that. You can actually select Send Donor Pass. Sending method, select email, and you can email another copy of that pass to your donor, and you'll click Submit. Let's see here. Another feature I'd like to show you today, let's see here, is results. You'll see this eye icon. Result means that the system has completed, the testing's been completed, and the system has produced a result for you to review. Here we have Sean Tester's test for reasonable suspicion, and we see here that his test came back negative. You can reprint this at any time. Otherwise, the system will keep a copy of this for you as well. Okay. The next one I'd like to show you that you'll probably use quite a bit is documents. This will give you an opportunity to look at the chain of custody form. Let's see, looks like we have a document here available. As you see, it says CCF2 here. View document. Well, let's look for one here. Hold on just a moment. Okay. Let's take a look a little bit further back. And this is a great time to show you this feature as well. As I said earlier, the system will automatically store about 30 days worth of results, but you can go back as far as you absolutely need to by coming to this middle section here on the left-hand side. Under Search, you can go back years at a time, as you can see here, and selecting month and days. We're going to go back and take a look here. And then you just choose the beginning month through present day. And as you can see, the system has brought up all of these possibilities for us to review. So you can, you know, if you have a donor that tested with you, goodness, doesn't matter how long ago, you can review a test for them at any time. So let's see here, see if we have a document available to review. CCF2, as I said earlier. And this will give you a look at the chain of custody form. We see here that it was received, and the collector put their information here, completed by the donor. So any CCFs, all you have to do is look for this PDF icon here in all recent cases and select the same here, and you'll have a copy of the chain of custody form. The last button that we'll take a look here at all recent cases will be the resend results. So let's say test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wants to have a copy of a result. Here we go. Let's use this one, test, because you do have to have a result in the system. And, you know, you want to send that out. You want to make a copy of it. You can resend that by selecting this button here, going to resend results. You'll get this pop-up box, and it says send to DER contact. If you click there, the DER that is available for that company, your company, will be listed here. Select one, click send, and the DER will be sent another copy of the result. If you are on the line and let's say, well, I need to be able to see results, but you notice that you haven't been getting them, just send a request over to our orders team from one of the DERs at the company and we can get you added. But you must be listed and have permission to receive copies of results, okay? So let's see here. Let's move on to pending orders. As I said, all recent cases has a little bit of everything, but if you know for a fact that the order has been placed but the collection hasn't been done, that brings us to pending orders. And you can have a look in that field to find out, do you need to send another copy? Did they ever go in? Anything you need to do, you can do that from this section. If, however, this is especially true for our DOT clients, if you sent your donor in with a 5-part carbonless chain of custody form, there will not be any information in the I-3 system for that collection until the MRO has updated that for review. Because it was not generated electronically, there's nothing that's going to be scanned and put into this system. You will not be able to track a 5-part chain of custody form through the MRO results online system. Otherwise, if you've scheduled it here and you just want to take a look at that order before, to see if you need to make any changes to it, you can do that here. It works exactly the same way as we looked at the columns in the all recent cases folder. Okay? The next one we'll look at is expired orders. Let's say you sent your donor out an order confirmation sheet. You are wondering, what's going on? I haven't heard anything. They said, oh, I didn't get a chance to go in. This is what will happen to any order that has expired. It gets moved to the expired orders. If your donor pass has expired, if their order confirmation sheet has gone past that expired date, you cannot reissue the same donor pass. You would actually have to submit a brand new order and send them a brand new order pass. But just to make sure, that they did in fact go, you can look here for that order and it should say expired no show. Okay, the next one we have is pending results. This section is for results that are still, the collection has been done. A result has not been reported, so that it's possibly still in testing. So you can come here and search for any results that may not have quite reached their completion yet, and you can take a look for them here. And you should see different status: collection completed, specimen sent to lab. It could also say something like in process here under order status. Okay? I want to show you a neat feature here. If you click on this plus sign next to the donor information, you can get additional information on the test. You can see things like the lab order number. You'll get collection site information as well. All the participants' information can also be in there. And collection site information can also be listed here as well. So when you need just maybe a little bit more information, you can select here along any of the sides here. Like I said, you'll see the collection site information here. Specimen's been sent to lab. It's still pending. So that way you kind of know where your donor's sample is in the process. Okay? And the final thing that we're going to look at today is completed results. Okay, all of these results have been completed in the system. Again, you notice that we were able to see this also in all recent cases, but let's say you only wanted to look at completed results. We're going to look at some additional tests here. Let's go back a year or so, see if we have some additional samples to show you. All right, so now you'll see here we have some different donors here listed. You'll see that some are in green with the word viewed, some say new. So if you have results sitting in your MRO results online, when you come to the completed results section, if you have not looked at those results, they will say new. If you have viewed it before, they'll say viewed. If other donors log in to their username, using their username and password and come to completed results, theirs may look different from yours. So just because you viewed it, that doesn't mean all users will see viewed. Another great feature that we can show you here, and it's the best example, let's say you needed to get a listing of all of the completed results that have come through your company. You can actually, and this works as well in the other folders that I showed you, all recent cases, pending orders, expired orders. You can actually export all of this information into a Excel spreadsheet. So you can choose Export Current Search. And as you can see here at the bottom, it created an Excel spreadsheet for us to review. And now you can, manipulate this information any way you need to. Out of all of our tests, how many were reasonable suspicion? How many were random? How many were pre-employment? How many were positive? How many were negative? You can do all of that in this Excel format by choosing the export feature. So that's very handy to have as well. Okay, let's see here. Now we want to take a few moments to show you our provider network. This is where you will go to look for collection sites. Again, as I mentioned, you may have donors that may not test or live near your office, and you want to find a collection site that is within reasonable distance to their location. This is what you will use. So as soon as you click on My Provider Network, you'll see that this search box comes open. This is kind of the default search box. We would prefer you to use the following one. So if you'll select to close that box in the upper right-hand corner, you'll come right here to Advanced Search in the top tool ribbon there. And then you can just enter a zip code. Maximum distance. For most donors, they don't want to drive more than 25 miles or so. Unless you happen to be located in a really rural area, you can also broaden that search. As you can see, you can go out a little bit farther if you need to, but 25 miles is what we typically use. Then you can select what is called the service type. For the majority of you on the phone, that's going to be a urine test. If you happen to be one of our customers that has hair packages available, you can select hair. DOT clients, if you need to find a facility that can do a breath alcohol, you can search by that as well. So we are going to select urine, submit, and now the system is searching zip code 32901 within 25 miles for collection sites. So there's a couple of things we want to make sure that you're aware of here within collection sites. It should tell you the name of the laboratory, the type, and if you'll recall from earlier when we were doing the donor pass, I told you that this was quite important, and it is. PSC is your Patient Service Center, and for all of you, that is going to get you your best pricing. You also see PPN. If you're one of our Quest customers, you have another option of going to what's called a preferred provider network location. There is an additional fee for that, but you can use that and schedule there. These other options that you see that say third, if you find after you've done a search by your donor zip code and these are the only options you have where it says third, you'll just want to give us a call here at National Drug Screening. We have to help you set up testing for these locations. These are out-of-network facilities, and there is an additional fee to use their services. You may occasionally find a third party that does have a green check mark. If that's the case, you still need to give us a call here at National Drug Screening, and we'll help you get those tests set up. So the next thing you'll notice is that it will have the name of the facility, address, city, state, zip, a fax number, a phone number. Then the very next important thing you want to see here is for this scheduling to work electronically, you need to see the green check mark in the non-DOT column. Each of these locations can be scheduled electronically using an ECCF, okay? If you are a DOT customer, you must see the green check mark in the second column, DOT E-chain. So you'll notice that this facility here listed in the top does DOT and non-DOT collections using eCCF. However, the one just below it does a non-DOT eCCF, but they are not able to schedule a DOT collection. So you do want to pay close attention there. Another feature that is very handy to use is you can organize this list to show up by mileage. As you see here, it's showing 1.68 and working out from there. To do that for your screen, you can simply click in distance. Okay? And you'll see here the little blue arrow should point up to go from closest to farthest away. If yours is rearranged, you would just click it until you see closest to farthest distances. Okay? Now, that kind of concludes our training for today. I hope you've learned quite a few things that can help you get started using the MRO Results Online system. If you have any changes or anything like that that need to be made to your account, email addresses, you have new phone numbers, anything like that, you can send in an email to orders@nationaldrugscreening.com. Just provide us with all of the information and we'll get that updated in the system for you. That goes the exact same thing if you're adding new users. As you heard me mention earlier, maybe you brought someone on board and they should be able to order tests or see results of tests. Just send that information. Make sure you are listed as a DER for the company. Send that over to orders@nationaldrugscreening.com, just asking us to give this user permissions on your drug screening account, and we'll take care of that for you. If you have any additional questions over and above this training today, we really encourage you to give us a call at 866-843-4545, and you can ask for customer support. Okay, and we would be happy to go over anything additional with you, or you can send an email to Orders and let them know that you need additional help ordering. We want to thank you again for choosing National Drug Screening as your drug screening account. Our goal is to provide excellent customer service. We're so glad you were able to join us today, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.